G'day and welcome to Aussievision. I'm Dale, and today we are here to talk about the first drama of Eurovision 2025. Now, to catch everyone up here, Montenegro, who are returning to the contest for the first time in a few years, selected their entry for Eurovision last week at their national final Monty song. Now, Neonoen with their song Clickbait surprised everybody by winning that and getting their ticket to Eurovision in Basel. It certainly surprised me, that's for sure.
Oh my god, I think they've won. I think Clickbait have won.
Now, before the group could start preparing for Basel, they've already hit a snag. The Montenegrin broadcaster put out this statement today on social media regarding a clip of them performing some of the song at a festival last year. This is what the social post said. RTCG are verifying the authenticity of the recording, which suggests that the winner of this year's Monty Song Festival, Neonoen, performed the song Clickbait in a different version at last year's Zabielo Culture Festival. Final decision tomorrow. A decision on potential disqualification will be made tomorrow, December the 2nd, after consultation with the European Broadcasting Union, aka the EBU, the organiser of the Eurovision Song Contest. So why is this actually an issue? Now, for those of you who don't know, that all Eurovision entries must be released after September 1 of the previous year. So September 1, 2024 for the contest in 2025. Now, the rule itself, it can be sort of construed in different ways. Here's what it actually says. It must be original and must not have been released and or publicly performed in part or in full before 1st of September 2023. Now, that is a really important part there because it's not just about if it was commercially released out as a single, it's about if it was performed in public as well, even part of the song, which is sort of coming up here. Now, this isn't the first time this has actually come up. Previous winners of the Eurovision Song Contest, including Jamala with 1944, and also Duncan Lawrence with Arcade in the past, had their songs performed out in public before they were actually selected and before the September 1 starting point. Now, they were allowed to compete because they weren't seen to be a commercial or gaining any advantage from this. You can see the EBU statement here saying this is the reason, for example, why Jamala was allowed to compete, and this has come up quite a lot. However, in 2022, the rules sort of got a bit tighter because it was very much around the commercialization of that, the commercial release, while these rules now is about live performance, including in part on there. And that's where we have the debate around the rule here. The biggest part here is about whether or not it has an advantage. Now, what will happen with the rule as well, as we can see from the EB ruling here, is any breaches will be taken to the EBU and they will decide if it has a competitive edge. Now, the band responded to the social media post with some of their own takes on this one, and Google translated this up as well, so you just don't know exactly how it is, but you can kind of get the gist of what they're saying here. We would like to point out that the song has not been published commercially or otherwise exploited, and that it could not have had a competitive advantage in the competition, and therefore the victory on Wednesday, November 27, 2024 was well deserved. They also said, until yesterday, few people even knew we existed, especially in our live performances, where we played our original music mostly for a small circle of people in almost empty spaces. Suddenly, the problem is that somewhere, sometime, in front of 20 people, we played a part of a song in the making, in one of its working versions. Now, clearly, as the band say themselves, they do breach the rule in terms that it was partly performed, doesn't matter if it was a full song, and out in public. However, the second part of the rule, which states about gaining a competitive advantage, is really always up for interpretation. Now, we have seen national final songs removed before, and we've actually seen Eurovision songs back in the past around the early 2010s also disqualified for this. However, it's very hard to say that Neonoen got a competitive advantage here. This is a very small group of people in Montenegro, not across Europe. These people aren't even voting, you can't vote for your own country. So I cannot see how they get a competitive advantage. So as long as Montenegro want to compete with this song, I'm sure the EBU will not have a problem with this. Because also, Montenegro are coming back for the first time. If they've seen in the past to let Jamala slide and Duncan Lawrence slide, I don't think it'd be a very good look for this very small nation making their return to disqualify on them with something so ambiguous and small and very tenuous link to the rule there. But it's worth bringing up, and they've self-referred onto the EBU, so we'll see what happens with it. As I say, if Montenegro want this song, then I can't see there'll be any issue. Some conspiracy theorists are saying, hey, they've seen the reaction online, and because fans aren't a huge fan of the song, they actually want to get rid of it, and this is the way they can do it. Now, I don't think that's the case. I mean, maybe internally someone raised it up with the broadcaster and found the performance, who knows, but I really don't think this would be the way, because if they take it to the EBU or they're putting it on them, they could also just make that decision as the broadcaster if that was the case, if they didn't want the song. So look, ultimately, have they breached the rules? Yes. Is the consequence of the rules that they get disqualified? No, not necessarily. They can, but I think unlikely that they will. But we'll have to wait and see. And we have our first Eurovision drama of the season already. Let's see how it all pans out.